Hey guys, what's going on? So it looks like we've got a Babylonian versus Celt for our game number 1.
Glory to the Empire!
And thank you for the sub, Rex. It's loaded in now. So, we spawned here on equal footing, it looks like. And I've got Crimson spawning as the green Babylonian player today. Taz spawning as the red Celt player. So, fairly short rush distance on this map by the look of it. They're probably going to be opening. Get barracks first. Try and get that aggression out. So both players finding a fairly safe-ish hunt each, and then a fairly also safe hunt as well, I guess. And yeah, thanks for the sub, Rex. And yeah guys, we're gonna have a big tournament when the Romans drops. It's gonna be huge. It's gonna be great. There won't be a tournament like it. It's gonna be the best tournament. The very best. So both players getting on early spearmen. I see some aggression starting out in this game, which is always nice. Get the ball rolling. The Babylonian spearman, he's a lot tankier than the Celt spearman, who's a lot quicker. He deals a little bit more damage. And he's ignoring the walls at the moment, which is perhaps not the best idea, because it means that all of his mates coming to back him up are also, they're going to get bit, and they're running into a pair of Babylonian spears. So Taz is gonna have to back out of this fight. He might be able to snag the scout though. But Prince is gonna get one of the spearmen. So Zoe's gonna get the other two here. 2 spearmen going down. Taz a little bit slow on the production there, but Crimson also not backing this. Oh, there we go. He's got the spearman backing this up. He's saving his own scout. So I don't think Crimson lost a spear there. And overall, he's up by 5 population. He's ahead by, oh, yeah, even on villagers, but he's got 2 ox carts. Yeah, he's up by 5 pop now. So Taz is really on the back foot already. But he's down but not out. He can hold off here. He just needs to not throw too many of the spears away. I think Crimson has, so he's not producing any spears at the moment. Crimson's just outside of TC range here, and this is forcing Taz to have to try and gather food elsewhere at the moment. Oh, this barracks is going to get sniped. No! So Crimson pinches the house of Taz there. And right now he's still up by about 4 pop. He'll be up by 5 if he gets a spearman. He picks off another spearman. Neither player's aged up at this point. Crimson has started managing to gather some stone. He's not producing any spearmen behind this, so I think he's going to try and age up from here, but he's dealing a lot of damage with this initial push, which is great for him. There we go, he's switching back onto the spears. He's denying all this wood gathering, so Taz needs to look at gathering wood elsewhere, because he's not going to be able to win a fight on that front of his base for a little while yet. He needs to try and pull his spears back and wait till he masses up enough, till he's actually got probably about 7 or 8 to try and take a fight against the 5 Bab spears. Oh, there we go. One gets picked down by the tower though, so probably still needs about 5 or 6 spears to really be able to take an attractive fight against the tankier, more expensive per unit Babylonian spears. or try and pull them right under the town centre. Oh, another one. It's going to go down though. So it's a nice pull there from Taz. So age up wise, Taz is slightly ahead on that front, but he's only got 18 villagers. Crimson, well, he's also got 18, but he's already up to 4 ox carts, which is a pretty good number for the Babylonian player this early. And he's still up by a population lead in terms of his army count, so he's got some good value out of this fighting. Taz just certainly doesn't have the bank to go for the Age 2 town centre. Well, Crimson does, so he can throw that down straight away. And neither player's opted for any eco technologies by the look of it. No hunting dogs from either player, so no one's really ahead of one or another on that front. The spearman there scouting out for Crimson does fall, but he's going to be able to use that to his advantage. Going to be able to pull these workers back in time, but oh, he's got these guys still up there, so he's going to need to pull them back, and I don't think he realizes that. The spears are going to catch these guys. Oh no, he's going to get them out of there, but oh, they're fast little buggers, these spearmen. Crimson doesn't have a lot of food at the moment. He needs to get that town centre down, but at the same time he's going to have to reshuffle together some food somewhere. So he pulls some workers off the town centre, not to keep gathering food, but if Taz wraps all the way around here, he can pick off some villagers. In fact, he's going to deny a house up here. Oh, he's deciding to back out. He's a little bit too late on it. One of the spears is a bit too low. He's already bringing up some longswordsmen and some spears here, so he's harassing Crimson a little bit more again. He's caught up a little bit in terms of score, actually. He's perhaps having to bank a bit of wood while he waits to get enough stone for the town centre. He's going to snipe a house here, but there's plenty of spears here for the Babylonian player, so this is a fairly even fight. And with the town centre fire, it's going to be very hard for the Kel player to really stick around here, I think. He hasn't got any units to back this up, so he's got a single spear to back this up, so perhaps not the biggest mass of units. Oops, sorry. Shield bearer being added in. A single one of them, but that's a really nice looking shield. Ajax heavy war shield. Really cool looking shield. Man, it's always impressive the gear the players manage to use between the actual items and the vanity gear. The wizard helms, wizard hats for Taz. Man, there's some really cool vanity in this game. And I'm always happy to see more as well. Just wink wink, nudge nudge to the devs. So we got range and stables coming out here for Crimson. Second barracks for Taz. Hasn't got a town centre just yet. Just finishing off the stone he needs for that. He does actually have a grove here, so he can get druids in, so this is really useful for him. But because Crimson's going for both lancers and bowmen, I think he's going to have the edge in this fight, because then he can pick off the druids, he can deal with the spearmen, deal with longswordsmen quite easily here. Bring across a couple of lancers. Taz does have the spearmen to be able to deal with this, but if he's moving out in another angle, this could be tough. He's only just throwing down that second town centre now. Playing a bit of Taz versus Wildlife, which he's won quite easily here actually. So kudos to Taz for his diligence in his Taz versus Wildlife. But truth be told, he's got a healer there, so he could really stack them up right next to the gold mine, throw it down here, have both the boars on it, and have gold wood and 2 boars with one storehouse there if he wanted. So that's just a little tip for from intermediate to advanced. Oh, but Spearman Champ finishing up for Taz. A little bit stronger against the buildings, a little bit stronger against the cavalry. Training a bit faster too, so he doesn't really have the food to keep pumping them out though en masse, so getting an armory behind this. And well, he's taking both food techs now. Crimson taking both food techs as well. But Crimson's actually taken pickaxe, so he's got that lead over Taz still. He's up by about 33 pop, so up by 4 villages, but that's probably just ox carts at this point. It's a much bigger army though, the Babylonian player. Does he have any of his gardens? I don't think he does just yet, so Crimson hasn't added any of his gardens just yet, but he's really looking to take a fight where he can, denying the hunt there for Taz. So Taz v Wildlife has come to an end of this season. Let's stick around for the next one. And Crimson, let's snipe the druids. It's really quite impressive. So these long swordsmen nowhere near as useful as they could be, and there's no slingers to back them up at this point. So Taz taps out. He doesn't have anything to really deal with the bowmen behind all this as well. And GG. It's game number 1 down. I'll fix that. Give me a sec. There you go. Whoops, sorry, that was a little bit early. So we're going into game number 2. Looks like Egypt versus Kelp this time. So Crimson swapped to Egypt. Swapped to Kelp. Taz has swapped to Egypt. Oh, I got the player colours back to front. Huh. Whoops. Oops, I need to swap these around. Okay, so spawning here, Bandit Canyon today. We have Crimson. I can't work like this because I've got the player colours wrong. I was supposed to have Taz on the red and Crimson on the green. The Christmas colours combination. The Christmas bash. So we've got Taz spawning here on his Egyptians. Player number 1 or 2, I don't know, I don't care. But he's green, he's Egyptian, and it's Taz. And spawning here as the other player today. Crimson can't tab. He's red, He's Celt, and he's going for a very early barracks. So he's going to have the foot in the door for the aggression here. So he's only got the barracks and the storehouse so far. Taz committed to double storehouse first. Neither player's picked an ecotech just yet, but obviously Crimson pretty wood-gated with his build so far. So Taz in the meanwhile, I think he's probably going to go for a barracks. Maybe look at expanding onto the hunt as well. It's sort of just a leapfrog storehouse on his berries. We're actually getting an early house. Perhaps he is committing to an age 2 based build for the early game. Crimson definitely going to have the aggression advantage here, being the Celt, with that fast barracks. Already a fair bit lower than Taz in score, so he's spending a lot more, but Taz throwing down the barracks now. I think he was sort of umming and ahhing, perhaps whether or not to get the early barracks, or whether or not to take the quick age 2. Try and make use of camels on this map, because truth be told, even though you're nice and well defended up here on the high ground, it's a pain trying to hold on to anything on the low ground, so there's always that trade-off. Crimson's going to have the much faster spears. I think Taz perhaps scouted the barracks. No doubt he's seen a spear by now, so he's forcing out his barracks with 2 villages, and I think this town centre might just be outside of range of this, so Taz is going to have to try and distance gather a bit of wood here and force up this barracks as quick as possible. Try and hold off here. Crimson. Oh, he's going to lose. Oh, he is going to get the spear out in time. Needs to be careful to not have too many wrapped around here, because they are just going to get picked off like that. Egyptian spears now out in the field as well. Crimson's pretty determined on getting that storehouse, and I think he is going to get it, but Taz at least picked off a spear, got one really low for this, and he's going to get a quick Temple of Ra, so he's going to be able to get quick Axeman out behind this. But he's also really low on wood still. He needs to finish that off, but he does. Crimson, the meanwhile, expanding across hunts. I think he's intending to. In this situation, when you've got all the map control, I think you're probably best off doing so rather than folding and going back onto berries for sure. Maintain that advantage over your opponent. So Taz still no picker's gloves in queue yet, and hunting dogs out for Crimson. So Taz is going to be gathering at a much slower rate than Crimson right now. So as long as Crimson does still continue to shift across the low ground, he's actually picking off the Rhino now. So not a bad choice, because they've actually got 500. It's actually quite a bit more than the Wolves, who've only got, I think it's at 125 each. It's not a lot. Might even be 75 each. So Rhinos are actually the nice aggressive huntable to have on the map, because they got 500 food. See if I've got another one out on the map here somewhere. I can't see any. It's a really convenient Rhino there. I literally can't see another Rhino. But there's a big engagement going on down here. Axeman out here because Taz has gone for the fast stage 2, so he's managing to hold off Crimson at this rate. So even though there's a bigger spear number there for Crimson, he's repelled now and he's forced to get age 2 because he's not going to be able to dive Taz until he gets long swordsman and maybe sprinkles in some druids. And I can't see for the life of me another Rhino anywhere on this map. With that big bopper there, he's almost run out of food, so Crimson is going to have to shift to another hunt eventually. And Taz has already shifted onto one himself, so it's dangerous for him, but at the same time, until Crimson spots it, it's definitely worth having. Handsaw coming out now for Taz. Crimson aging up, has the resources for his town centre. Taz has only got one so far, hasn't committed to any stone gathering so far. So he's really looking at trying to break the hold Crimson has on the low ground here before he throws one down. Here we go, here's another Rhino. And it doesn't tell me how much food it's got. Come on, guys. What is this? One of you needs to walk by this so I can see how much food they got. Because, man, that's imber. If, out of all the aggressive hunts, lynxes and wolves have bugger all food, and rhinos have 500. Come on, guys. Please. Who balanced this? Nah, I'm kidding. I'm sure there's a reason. There's always a reason. Is there always a reason? I don't know. So Crimson just trying to macro up a bit of a lead over Taz, but I don't think he realizes that Taz is low ground gathering. Or perhaps he does. He does, but he's just choosing to ignore it because he's going, you know what? I can wager there's only a handful of workers there, and that's correct. This is going to mean enough of an eco difference and this later hunting dogs that Crimson's going to have a bit of an eco difference over his opponent here, and he is up by 4 units at the moment, ahead by 4 villagers. In fact, they've got the same army size, and there's a bunch of spears here for Crimson, so perhaps he can't actually take this fight yet. The scoreline is deceiving. It's lying to us, guys. But the second town centre is finishing up here for Crimson, so if he gets a market just here or something, that's going to be, or just up here, that's going to be pretty beneficial for him to have, and very hard for Taz to find himself in an economic lead in the near term. So much pace going down here, so there's a very good spot for it because Taz is just attempting to get this low ground gold now, so Crimson's going to be completely aware of that. Taz really should probably cancel this, destroy it, and then go for up here. That was cool. Did you see that? They all just fell over. That was sick. So Taz is going to attempt to clean this up as quick as possible. Hide any workers that are going to come back over onto this. Because inevitably this will run out. But there is plenty still there. There's another... what was that? 5/6 of the gold. A handful of spears here of Taz are going to get caught out now. Rest of the army for Crimson is here, but rest of the army for Taz is coming in as well. Rhino's in by 500 food. Taz is going to have to scatter from the low ground over here at the food, but he's hold on to the gold mine. Doesn't have that second town centre up yet though, so he's going to start falling behind the worker count. It's 38 to 28 workers at the moment. So Crimson's already got himself a bit of an advantage there. There is still these infantry up here to deal with, so Taz is going to keep everything parked here, I think, and Crimson's going to be able to max up an army just over to the other side of his base. Taz already committing to farms, so he's going to be well behind on economy for that, when Crimson already had the benefit of the quicker hunting dogs, has pretty much just only got picker's gloves just as soon as he's actually got on the berries as well, so much better use of the eco-tex there for the food. Both players banking quite a bit of food in this matchup, so perhaps they need to gather a bit more gold, gather a bit more wood, throw down some more production facilities and actually max out on their armies, because populations wise they haven't actually got a terribly big army for the stage of the game they're in at the moment. There is 4 barracks now though for Crimson and the Grove, and barracks for Taz. I think a barracks. Taz is actually well behind on production facilities at the moment, getting the AIDS 3, so he's going to be able to get Axeman Champion out. I think that's what he's going for, but he's got so little actual production, it's going to be hard for him to make a great use of it, whereas Crimson already started adding druids to his composition, getting a Bard Hall, Although, guys, the armory is worth more than the Bard Hall unless you're planning on doing hit and run attacks all the game. You know, unless the only focus is on hit and runs and you're not fighting at all, you're definitely going to want the armory techs over the Bard Hall techs, in my opinion. But these druids, they do so much. So the scout goes down, but he picks up a bit of a read of what's going on here. So Crimson, quite a fair bit ahead in score. Axeman Champ coming out now for Taz, and he does have a high ground fortress, but that low ground base is going to be pretty easy for Crimson to take once he gets a bit of a army size lead, I think. So he's already 53 villages to Taz's 42. He's already up by 20 pops, so he actually does have a bigger army already. Just that these spearmen, they're just not worth very much when there's mostly axemen here for Taz. A handful of spears still on the mix for him, but yeah, neither of these plays with a terribly mid-game army even. So big engage goes down, but there is a lot of spears here for Crimson, so it sort of inflates the number of units he's got here. And Taz, I think he's going to be able to win this trade, but he's just got so little eco behind it that he's not going to come out being able to swing at Crimson terribly effectively. He's gone for that age 3, and he's going to need to force out a quick third town centre, I think, in order to be able to play a bit of eco catch up first. And add some camels or some chariots to his army. Because even with the Axeman Champion, he's probably not going to want to try and fight against a Celt who's got an eco lead over him. Because the Celt just adds Longswordsman Champion, adds in Druids, and then just outnumbers you and pushes you to win. Pushes to win against you. Armory already there for Crimson. There's not one here for Taz yet. He's getting a high ground fortress though. Another one. This time overshadowing the town centre though. So this is going to make it really hard for Crimson to push into him. But at the same time, Taz, very little map control. Crimson effectively knows about almost the entirety of what's going on his half of the map. So even adding double market, so 67 villages to 51, he's going to start to creep ahead in terms of eco, even more so because of that. Getting his age 3 now. Taz hasn't added the age 3 town centre yet. He's added 2 forts in and taken Axe Champion, so that's useful, but at the same time he's not gained an eco benefit to aging up yet.
Ahura Master bless.
Thank you for the follow. Actually, he's got one of the mining upgrades for the gold mining, but yeah, no H3 town centre, no markets just yet, and Taz down by about 20 population to Crimson, who is walling up now, so it's going to be hard for Taz to do any sort of hit and runs. The Celt Age 3 is coming out now. Crimson certainly has the resources to throw down that Age 3 town centre. Ecotex wise, Crimson has everything he can in queue. That's quick, as soon as he's aged up here, and he's added 4 rangers in, getting Woad Raider in, so he wants to go for Woad Raider Bowman. And maybe just add in some stables if he needs to deal with the War Elephants that Taz has added in here. This Axeman Champion composition will be hard to deal with for Crimson till his Age 2 and 3 upgrades kick in for the Longswordsman, but he does ultimately have enough to overwhelm them. There is still War Elephants here for Taz though. There is still the Priestess in the back line healing up the War Elephants. So Crimson forced to ultimately retreat there. He doesn't have anything that's a dedicated cavalry killer. So the Elephants with their 1600 health pool, very effective unit. There's no range in the back line to chip away at them. There's only spearmen, not even champion spearmen. So there's the stables coming out now here for Crimson. He's got 4 of them on the way. 5 of them on the way. Desperately wants to be able to clean up those elephants because Taz with them is going to be able to overwhelm him, I think. And Taz doesn't want to overextend with those for the time being. Walls continuing to finish up here for Crimson. But that was a good fight there for Taz. Adding in the elephants just when the Celt has nothing to really respond to a proper, you know, no proper mid-game response to elephants. It's, yeah, a good push there for the Egyptian player. But Taz needs to apply the pressure somewhere because Crimson behind this is just maxing out. I don't really agree with getting so many spearmen, especially not without the champion upgrade, when you could just get more long swordsmen to deal with the axemen. And you could use the spearman pop as well to invest in more horsemen, because Crimson right now, he's still got a bit of population space, but he could, yeah, he could really add in woads and horsemen and decimate Taz at this point. But in saying that, Taz already with quite a strong push there from the elephants. Catching up in terms of eco behind this. He's still down in terms of population overall, but he needs to just add some more production, which he's doing. Getting chariots too, so the Celt needs to continue to add woad raiders, and there's only a handful of those here in this army at the moment. Crimson ahead by about 40 pop at the moment, 22 of which are sneaking around into Taz's base. Didn't see this high ground town center. Walls going out for Taz as well. Taz is playing really defensively, just stuck in this little corner, but now he's just pushing up as well, so without all those spears here to really blanket these war elephants, it's going to be hard for Crimson to deal with this because he's got so much raiding Taz at this point in time as well, but he does have enough horsemen that the war elephants want to get out of this fight. So good composition usage here from Crimson. Perfect unit composition for what he needed for the task. Just needs a little bit more to hold on here, but Taz, big number of Axeman champion. He's managed to save both of these war elephants in the face of these horsemen, so he's done a good job there, and he seems to be cleaning up back at home pretty well. Lost a handful of camels, but most of those spears have fallen now, so he's done a good job cleaning up there. He's caught up a lot in score at the moment. Eco-wise, it's 100 vils to 75 though, so Taz a little bit behind eco-wise. He's always going to be able to take good pop fights though, because his population of his army is going to be quite nice here. So even though, yeah, he's going to be down by about 20 villager pop, 25 villager pop, he invests that in army, catches up in terms of eco. He just needs 4 more houses, but if he gets them, yeah, he's definitely going to be able to take some good fights against Crimson, because, oh no, yeah, he needs 4 more houses because he's got all 3 town centers. But without that population, it could be hard here because Crimson's managed to snipe the market in the meantime. Really good use of those spears. And Taz bringing everything up to deal with this, so Crimson's going to get a good chance to see what the majority of the Egyptian Celt composition is like as well. So the Celt player can't respond to that yet, but he's at least aware what's there. Some more elephants here. Crimson going to be able to take a really good fight here though, because he's got such a nice ball of bowmen, but there is a nice number of elephants behind this, so they are going to get sniped, I think. Crimson, a very strong push. Taz still bringing things back in the meanwhile, so this is going to hurt him now because all those units lingering back there hadn't backed up what was down here, engaging Crimson's force, and Taz is now down by about 50 population, queuing up a bunch of stuff, but it might be a bit too little too late. There's a siege workshop there in the front line guarding this. It's even being empowered in the meantime while the catapult pops out. Taz is going to try and make use of that, but it's focusing the cavalry at the moment. Oh, gets another shot off, but without it focusing the range there, it's not going to get off any nice one-hit wonders there, getting 2 or 3 bowmen at a time or anything nice like that. So Crimson disengaging. Taz has now got the houses. Now taking age 4 behind this, so Taz's eco behind this has been pretty solid. He just needs to replace that market, and Crimson feeding in the Woad Raiders now, so he might be able to catch something of Taz's. But Taz, not going to be too easy to engage upon at the moment, because all those Woad Raiders are split away from the main army. Crimson can't really push just yet because Taz is pretty much even in terms of population. Woad's going to attempt to do a bit of harass here, but the village is being garrisoned by Taz. Market's going down again. Crimson finding this little segmenting wall, and he's going to get rid of it, but there's not really anything back there, so... Although, over here on this side there is, so Taz going to have to be careful of that and send something to engage this. The Woad's really a quick unit as well. They'll be able to take a nice fight here with their charge. And most of the units for Taz down pretty much straight away there. And I don't think a single Woad fell there in the end. Really nice fight for the Kel player who's aging up behind this. In the meantime, the Egyptian is pushing the number of catapults here for Taz, putting a real dent in the bowman count of Crimson. There's a lot of eco damage being done to Taz behind all this, and he's won this fight up the front of his base, but at what cost? He's going to lose both of these markets, and this gold mine is being sacked by Crimson. Meanwhile, this one here being sacked by Taz, but the Woad's going to be able to deal a lot of damage very quickly to those caravans as well. Some more Woads coming out now. Going to snipe the chariot, and I think Crimson's even going to look at taking this fight. Oh, backs out after getting a couple of kills from the charge. Very smart use of the Woads from him. Taz, in the meanwhile, sort of caught in the middle, wondering what he should do right now, and there's a couple of forts at the bottom of his ramp. I don't think he knows about them yet. No, he doesn't, so Crimson's going to be able to mass up a few more rams. He'll be able to snipe some of these town centers of Taz at the moment. Taz just trying to keep the Woad Raiders at bay if he can. Put a bit of pressure on Crimson's doorstep as well, which he's not going to be able to stick around for much longer though. Well, actually, Crimson's population capped at the moment. He's having to push in with his siege units because he's pop capped with all them locking up that and the Woad Raiders. Well, the Woad Raiders do find most of the catapults and kill most of them, so that's an expensive snipe because they are a 550 cost unit. They're one of the most expensive units in the game, but the Woad's sticking around for a fight they perhaps shouldn't have there. Champions being thrown into the mix with Woad Raiders. And Carpentoms as well, so the Kel player really stepping into a late game composition here. And Crimson with some really aggressive gathering. Hoping to mine out this stone to try and deny Taz the opportunity to keep forwarding up, to keep walling up behind this. He's also got this gold mine as well, so it's going to eventually run out too. More Woads heading around. Priestess of Ra just waiting there. And I think Crimson's is going to attempt to... Yeah, there is a space around there, so Taz, unaware that he actually needs to wall that little pocket there as well, I think. Crimson's going to be able to destroy the markets when he realizes. He's just cleaning up that priestess that was waiting up there in the middle of the map. Ooh, there's some units here to come and deal with the Woads, and they haven't succeeded in their job of cleaning up the markets. But with that charge attack, they're able to actually trade with the Axemen reasonably well, as long as they don't have a sustained fight like that. But they do just about win the fight. So, the Woad Raiders managed to fight their way through. Have they got an upgrade advantage? They've got all age 3 upgrades right now. Whereas the Axemen, they've only got age 2 upgrades. defensive ones. There's no damage upgrade for them from the armory either, so the Woad Raiders managing to hold their ground there. And Carp Champion coming in to do a bit of damage, but this is a bit of an ineffective run by, I think. There's the Chariot Archers there. So that's what the Carpentoms really needed to find, and they've pretty much been a wasted run-by opportunity. Crimson's already dealt quite a bit of damage up here, and Taz has finally ward up that market. Crimson's certainly got the map control and the upgrade advantage at the moment. Defensive Palantone on. It's going to deny this stone thrower, I think. It is going to deny the stone thrower, but another one's coming out of the other fortress. Another one being thrown down, so... What's Taz doing here? Hello? What's this? Oh, Taz is going to try and get the gold, but he's going to realise that there's a mine on it already, so... Not going to be able to take that. Oh, and the stone thrower is going to get picked off, so the pre-position... Oh, the stone thrower does actually pick a Palantonon down. There's an army of champions here, and they really rip through these walls quite quickly. They've got their first upgrade, but not their second. And the Kelp player is really going to be putting a lot of pressure here on the Egyptian. Barracks and the workshop going down. Town center under focus. The siege up here, trying to do what it can. There's even crushed armor for these champions, so they're going to be very hard to deal with right now. They are going to get the town center. Keep pushing here, I think. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to get through all of Taz's army though, because he is close to maxing out behind this, but Crimson's continuing to produce more, and the champions do cut through, so they've actually got a huge upgrade advantage at the moment. They've got two of their age 4 upgrades and one of their age 3 upgrades still. Age 4 damage, age 4 melee armor, age 3 ranged armor. So these champions, big upgrade advantage. Took a very good fight there. Kel player Crimson making great use of his tech lead at the moment. He's going to be able to bring down these elephants, I think. GG is called. Crimson is the winner of our first series today. Unfortunate for Taz, but he did hold up quite well there, despite the very aggressive opening from Crimson on this map. So well done, guys, because normally games on this map can be over quite quick. It's got the Arabia syndrome, where, you know, if games aren't ended by about 7 to 12 minutes, they tend to run to about 30 minutes. But anyway, guys, well done for our series winner, and GG, well played to both players. We're going to go to a bit of a break, and then we're going to look at our series 2. Alright guys, so the gods have decreed we've got Oasis. So, spawning is the green Greek player. We got Crimson Cantab. And as the yellow Celt, we got game video. Quick barracks here for both players. Pretty normal on this map. Because you've got to try and contest this middle pond. There's usually, I think, 4 or 5 schools of fish. So slightly stronger than a single lake in inland. And the beauty of it is, it's shallow as well, so you can fight over it with your spearmen. Sorry, you can fight over it with your initial spearmen and snipe any fishing boats that someone tries to go for early. So, unlike inland, you can't play around the dock first off. You've got to play around your barracks. Otherwise, if your opponent spots what you're doing on the water, you just get punished. So we've got early spears coming out for both players. Quite a risky hunt here for Crimson. And Taz is just going to rush straight for it. So both players are going to try and spear rush. But Taz has got... Oh, sorry. Not Taz. Game video. So Crimson's going to rush straight for game video. And game video is going to rush straight for Crimson. But I think Crimson's got the advantage here. So he's pinched a couple of sheep already. Game video is forced to try and play defensive here. So nice micro here from both players. Oh, game video is going to lose his ultimately, and Crimson's is going to get out. So I think game video is going to be forced off this hump, but he's staying on it as long as he can to try and maximize all the gathering that he can out of it. He is going to lose a villager ultimately. Oh no, it does get out. So game video doesn't lose any villagers in the end of that, I think. Oh, he is on 13 to Crimson's 14, but he does lose a few spearmen. And Crimson seizes the map control, so a bit of a risky hunt option there. He probably would have been best off going for this one up the front here, I think. This Crimson would have found it much harder to try and get straight onto that one. Crimson's going to try and take a dock. Game video is responding with one of his own though. Crimson's going to head up to try and deny this because he's expecting it to come out. Actually no, he's just sort of patrolling across. Game video. Oh, he's going to get scouted ultimately. So I wonder if game video is going to attempt it. He is in the end, but Crimson's going to bring up his spears just in case because he did see the villager. But well, there is a good number of spears here for game video. Not quite enough to take this fight, but he is going to deal a bit of damage and probably try and back out of here. Going to get a spear. In fact, he's got the defender's advantage. So if he's some good micro here, he might be able to win this fight. But Crimson is bringing in more spears as well. So either player, well, game video just finishing up the dock now, and both players queuing up the fishing ship at basically the same time there. But game video just using his scout to tank a bit there. Game video. Does Crimson know about this dock? No, he doesn't. So game video has managed to get the dock off. Sorry guys, I took a sip of water and it went down the wrong way. And coughed my guts up for like 5 minutes. Anyway, there's an H2 coming out for game video. Crimson's well ahead in score at the moment. He's taking hunting dogs behind this. And he does have the spear count advantage here. It's not good for the Kel player because he does have the quicker producing but squishier spears. I think Crimson is going to win this trade here on the water. But game video is going to have the quicker H2 behind this. Interested to see who holds off here on the water. Video trying to micro the boat around so the spears have to chase it, so they go straight back onto the dock. And another ship pops out. Swan ship on the way. Crimson's doing what he can to try and get this down. The game video is doing what he can to try and stay on the water here. Carrying both of these fishing ships, and he's now trying to chip away at these spearmen who are going to try and take down the dock as quick as they can. Crimson aging up in the meanwhile behind this. The dock's getting lower and lower. But the swan ship is out. I wonder if there's going to be a trireme here for Crimson behind this because he does have the resources for it, but I suppose he probably wants to try and get that town center. He's already overgathered a bit here on stone in the meanwhile. But game video, he's got a lot of spear kills now with that swan ship, so I think he might have won back the water now. Crimson's going to try and pick off that fishing boat. Game video is forced to try and repair the dock, but yeah, Crimson's been repelled off the water for now. Game video doesn't have another swan ship in queue though, so Crimson is going to get a brief uptick here on the water where he can deal a bit of damage. Going to pick off one of the spears, maybe going to try and go for this fishing boat as well. He's got a villager here repairing the trireme and backing out. Spear v spear there, but there's a repairing villager versus a couple of fishing boats here in the mix as well. Crimson's going to have to deal with these guys here, otherwise they're going to clean up this villager, and he's not going to have any presence here on the water at all. But I think game video may have done it. He's going for a second dock behind this. He might have won the water off Crimson ultimately here. There's another dock, archery range coming out here for the Greek player, well the Kel player cancelling the dock. I think he's realised he's more or less won this for now. And he's going to go for a forward barracks. So Crimson's pretty much surrendering the water right now. He's basically not going to be able to make use of another trireme out of that. It's more or less going to be thrown away in the face of the two swan ships and the infantry right there. So at best it'll probably get a couple of infantry kills before it goes down. Town center coming out now for Crimson, while game videos is a little bit delayed now, but he's done a wonderful job at repelling Crimson off the water, and he's gonna get the stone now. Crimson's banked a lot of stone behind this, so he's not made the best economic choices he could have behind this, and game video is going to be able to capitalize on that, be able to more or less safely take this water, keep the infantry in range of the swan ships for now, and get both infantry and some druids, maybe some slingers out as well. And Crimson's going to have to look at expanding around the map to continue taking food at a comparable rate to game video now, because the deer is going to be worth so much to him, and all those berries, and that deer is going to be in range of that swan ship. So Crimson's going to have to work around this side of the map to try and get all this food, but I don't know if game video is going to let him. He's already coming in with some units, but there is some Toxotes here to defend. So game video is going to have to transition to his range to be able to clean this up. But Crimson going to have to mount a bit of pressure somewhere because he is at a bit of an economic disadvantage at the moment. I do know he's got it in him. He's a very strong player, particularly in the eco. Right now he's at a bit of a disadvantage without that lake. Game video adding in the ranges now. So game video up in terms of population, but not by a huge amount. Population wise, he's up by 4 villages overall at 36 to 32. And there's the stables here for Crimson, but it's not being built. I think he's just realised now he sent some villagers to go and throw that up. It's a little bit late, so the slingers are going to have a little bit of time before the Saris are out in the field, but Crimson's going for a bit of a push right now. It's working its way around the map, and it's going to catch these wood gatherers of game videos, I think, because everything's here just on the lake, guarding all these fishing ships. There's already 3 of them, 4 of them out. But oh, Crimson's not watching, so he's going to wander straight past these villages, which is a bit of a shame for him because it'd be a nice little pick off for him to help him catch up a little bit right now. He really needs it. He's throwing down a bunch of production facilities, but he's got to be careful to not throw down too many because he doesn't have a huge amount in the bank. He needs to be able to maintain continuous production out of everything. Although this push is going to be quite nice for him because Game Video has a lot of units garrisoned right now and is forced off that wood. Doesn't have a lot of wood in the bank. Has to reshuffle for his wood gatherers. Wait for this town center to go up before he's really got a lot of wood. At the same time, Game Video is pushed into Crimson's base, and he's gonna really be able to overwhelm what's left at home on the doorstep. Gonna snipe some of these production facilities, I think, and Crimson's forced to try and bring everything back home after dealing what economic damage he can. He figured out about these guys over here and streaming in some units to harass the gold as well, but Game Video denying a lot of his production right now. Crimson trying to throw up some more buildings, keeping everything in within the double TC stack there. Trying to get the Saris and the Hypaspis he needs to be able to overwhelm this. But he's been unable to really get a huge amount of value out of Game Video's base quickly, so he's deciding to come back. Doesn't want to stick around and try and chip away at all the buildings and let Game Video just decide to push straight into his base, but Game Video is deciding to do that anyway. He's going to try and get this barracks and turn on the army now. More production facilities, more rangers coming out for Game Video. Some stables there as well, because he's basically got no barracks at the moment. He's pretty much got a pure back line of an army in terms of what production is going to be coming out. Other than the Hypaspis, which are coming back now, but there's not a huge number of them. And there's already some slingers here to back this up too. A druid as well, but he is getting a little bit low. Game Video really dealing a lot of damage to Crimson at the moment. Village accounts is 36 to Crimson to 47 to Game Video. So the H2 town center being a lot slower, of no consequence. He's really made use of that dock and these pushes in H2. And Crimson not really having a front line now. This time he doesn't have a little army here to buy himself some time, so as long as Game Video keeps the production up behind this, I think he should be able to just parade push this one down. Slowly but surely. He's getting some forward towers to really help contain Crimson and deny any chances of gathering within this first town center range. Crimson doing what he can to throw up more buildings, getting a close market, because if he takes age 3, he can throw down a distant town center and use that, and at the same time trying to get there he can always reshuffle his resources as needed. But is it going to be enough? Because Game Video knocking on the doorsteps, doing everything right so far. Another barracks of Crimson going up, but he's lost so much production so far. More buildings going up here for Crimson after losing them. I'd like to know what his buildings lost stat is like at the moment, because Game Video lost none and is just continuing to destroy all the forward production of the base. And this time it's all having to go down sandwiched in between the two town centers, so Crimson still in the game, but right now he's down by about 40 population. 10 of it's workers. And I don't know if he's really got the comp to be able to take another fight at the moment. Game Video macroing up behind this, not really paying attention to the fight, but now he's pulling everything back. Not losing too much of consequence. Getting a watch post just to see what else his opponent's doing. He's missing out on this though, but Crimson's going to have to move these villages around, rejigger the economy once again, maybe venture even further behind enemy lines this time. Or come back and throw up a bunch of farms, because he's not going to be able to get onto the berries safely, I don't think. He's getting an age 3 behind this, so perhaps he does want to go for a distant town center somewhere down here. Send the caravans down here somewhat safely, because he really needs to catch up somehow economically. Game Video's really hemmed him into a corner at the moment. So Crimson venturing up just to see what Game Video's got, but I don't know if he's got the forces to be able to make it out of this. Game Video can pretty much just overwhelm him, bringing the slingers closer just to focus down as many Toxotes as possible, and they are going to drop like flies. Losing about 3 at a time per volley with these slingers, so the Toxotes are going to keep venturing back, but now the slingers have to venture back because the Saris run them down, but yeah, Game Video unaware that Crimson is creeping around on the hunts with hunting dogs, so he's making very good use of the tech, trying to avoid having to commit to the farms for as long as he can because they are bloody expensive. They cost 100 wood each when you can afford to get on berries or hunt over your farms with or without techs. It doesn't matter. Farms is easily the worst choice just because you've got to commit so much resources to getting them. But right now, Crimson, with his tail between his legs, running the Toxotes back. Game Video, really powerful force on his doorstep at the moment. I think it may be GG soon. Game Video is more or less just waiting to max out, I think. Continuing to add more units in, taking his own Age 3, getting some 3 armory upgrades right now. Really, really solid play from him. Crimson, the meanwhile, no armory upgrades. This close market really only serving as a way to shift resources around his economy, which is ultimately going to cost him, I think, because he's having to make that purchase cost. And Game Video just waiting for these techs and some more units to kick in, getting in combined arms and long swordsmen behind this as well. So just needs to get a bit more gold in his eco, and I think he's doing swimmingly at the moment. Plow and Chisel coming out for Crimson, so some of the weakest of the Age 2 techs. Hasn't got pickaxe at all yet either. He's managed to mine a lot of gold already. And he's really only got this fairly unsafe gold left over here that he knows about. I don't know if there's really anything up over here. Though he can take this one here. But he's not really set up to have a good market line considering his town centers are all here. And the market's just up here. He'd have to throw down a second somewhere further up on either side of his base to really get some effective gathering. Game Video maxed out. Probably could even just do with deleting the swan ships as he pushes in here. So he can max out on the run. He's still waiting for a couple of techs to kick in. Slinger Champion kicking in as well. So I think he's going to wait for that first. Here we go. It's all finished. Crimson macroing up really well behind this, but it's not going to be enough, I don't think. He's already down by so much. He's continuing to gather up here, but that hunt is almost finished, and Game Video is going to find out about all those villages soon. It's a big force with a lot of slingers. A few spears here still as well. Crimson's population dropping like flies, already down to under 70. GG is called, so Game Video takes game number 1. Let's have a look at the buildings lost stat. No, yeah, 4-19. Really solid play there from both players. Game Video just on the trot, picking up the leg, killing all those buildings, and then just basically taking a lead that couldn't be taken off him. That's GG, game number 1. Alright guys, so for game 2, it looks like Persia versus Babylonian. Game video. Oh, game video, blue screen of death. Oh, yep. Yeah, sorry, Savvy. Yeah, I thought you meant issues with the video here. Well, that's why it crashed. Okay, so, anyway, I'll swap us over. We've got game video spawning as the Persian in the yellow trunks, and as the Egyptian in the green trunks. We've got Crimson Cantab on Watering Hole. So, unlike other water maps, it's a big circular lake with an island in the middle, and it's completely traversable, so it's a bit like a more balanced oasis in a sense. Just kidding, that's more of just a shot at original map design compared to how it is now. But basically, it just means there's sort of a good balance between aggressive and greedy openings on this map, whereas Oasis sort of feels like it's very in tune with the aggression side of it. Conversely, inland, because you can't walk across the water, you know, it feels like it's really biased towards the greedy builds. So that's one criticism I guess you could have of the new maps, is that they do shoehorn you into playing really greedy strategies. Whereas Watering Hole, it's sort of the nice medium between the new and the old, where it's a new map that does sort of offer the most opportunity for varied strategies for it. You can even play really good proxies on this map, given the map size, with those rushes, considering, look at this rush distance, man. Really effective if you can chuck your barracks up here in the corner or something. But anyway, we've got an early dock here for game video. Sorry for my ramblings. An early dock incoming for Crimson, which is being scouted. Crimson, does he know about game video's dock? Yes, he does. So both players well aware the other's going for the water first, before committing to any production facilities. And both players perhaps could have even taken the docks a little bit faster than they did, but I think they were probably more inclined to see whether the other was going to go for some kind of funky aggression. But when they see what their opponent's villager counts are like and where they've got them, they can sort of tell they're pretty safe. Crimson going for a quick age 2 actually, right on the edge of his town centre towards the front side, so it's not as if he's trying to even hide that. At the same time, it could just be the quickest villager he had there, I think, considering he's already got another 3 on the hunt. Already got hunting dogs as well, so he's fit that in behind the dock. So he's taken that before the dock, sorry. Game video in the meanwhile had the quicker dock, didn't take hunting dogs, was slightly later on the dock than he could have been, I think. Whereas Crimson's gone for the hunting dogs dock build, which means that you don't necessarily have to commit to a fishing ship, get the quicker age 2 and get the trireme out, and then worry about your fishing ships. So it'll be interesting to see how the two builds pan out, but Crimson's not that much quicker on the trireme than game video at the moment. Handsaw and hunting and loom coming out for game video, while Crimson just getting handsaw. The trireme's out as the galley is out, but the trireme is a stronger ship in a fight. There's a slight health advantage for the trireme over the galley. They got the same damage, same population space, and I think the triremes are slightly more expensive. Yeah, they are. They do cost more gold and less wood. Game video Crimson waiting for some more ships to pop out. Game video repairing what he's currently got, waiting for a third ship to pop out as well. So it is 2 seconds faster to actually train your galleys as well. So keep that in mind, guys. The skirmish going on here, 3v3 on the water, but there is a villager in the mix to repair. No loom on her means that it's a bit dangerous bringing her along. And you take a couple of barrages to kill her. Not even if they're directed at her, considering its area damage. Video trying to go for some nice hit and run shots here. Needs to be careful to make sure he gets off all 3 attacks. Crimson doing a wonderful job at microing back the low trireme there. Very clean. So 4 ships now for game video. 4 for Crimson as well. No H2 town centers for either player as of yet. Crimson's got the stone for his game video. Hasn't yet started gathering any stone, but Crimson's still short on all the wood. And he's using it to try and cram out as many ships as possible, which he really needs to do at this point, which is smart of him. At the same time, yeah, he's got to try and sneak it in somewhere. Because game video hasn't even bothered gathering the stone. Crimson's now got the big boom of wood, so he's going to be able to throw it up now and maintain his trireme production. Getting some houses behind this because he is pop capped though. Both players are at the moment at 45 population. Village counts 24 apiece, both pop capped, both losing a ship. We've got a bit of a 4v3 on the water at the moment, 4v2, so game video having to skulk back for the time being. The Greek player, I mean sorry, not the Greek player, the Egyptian player. Slightly ahead in the water, but there is double ship production here for the Persian, so I think the score is a little bit misleading at the moment. Game video is definitely going to be able to max up quickly behind this, quicker than Crimson, who is committing to the town centre quicker. So it's going to eat up 600 resources as well, so it's going to be a little while before that actually pays a bit of a dividend there with the villager production. But there's, oh, this is a big engage here for both players, so they're not going to want to lose anything in game video. The good dodge there. Crimson getting really low with that ship on the front, so he's going to retreat, repair for now. He doesn't want to lose any ships either, because if game video pulls ahead, all he needs to do is keep up that double dock production with a lead on the water, and he maintains it and he wins the water outright. So there is 6 ships for the Egyptian, 5 for the Persian at the moment. Second dock now going down for the Egyptian. I think it's going to be sniped though, but in saying that, it's going to pull a lot of fire. It does get sniped. But yeah, it does mean a free volley or 2 from the Egyptian. So Crimson seems to be doing really strongly, considering he's only invested in 1 dock so far and had that second one get sniped. He's got fishing ship production going behind this, so he's going to catch up with game video's dock gathering behind this. And if he throws down another dock, which he is doing again, he's going to be able to maintain double dock production as well. There's 8 galleys to 6 triremes at the moment. And I guess the beauty of this map, because the island's in the middle, you can actually skulk back and sort of have a macro water game without it really being too one-sided too quickly, which is the big criticism of both Coastal and Great Lake for sure. So I really like this map in terms of offering probably the most balanced macro water play out of all the maps with water that you're really going to see, like big activity like this. Like in Mountain Crossing or Inland, you might see 2 or 3 warships fighting, but you never see something like 8 warships v 7 warships or something like that, like you're seeing right now. People might be critical of it, but I actually do like seeing it from time to time. So we've got 8v8 on the water right now. right in the middle of Crimson's production. He's managed to sneak in camels behind this, so he might be able to do a bit of a hit on Game Video while he's defending here, but Game Video backs off for the time being. So the camels are heading out around the map. Game Video at the moment committing to his stables as well, but I think he's realized he's perhaps overcommitted on the water here. He's hoping to try and catch, but he can't. Crimson's not looking at overextending. He has been seen now, but he's going to pick the scout off. And until Game Video gets a barracks up, he doesn't really have a lot to defend against the camels. Like, the camels are going to be able to fight against Asabara even under the single town center when you've got that many of them. And yeah, they're fighting against the unit they counter. So Game Video already committed to the armory, and that sort of explains why the discrepancy with his units. He's got double armory, taken the range damage upgrade for his ships, so he should be able to win a good fight here on the water, but at the same time Crimson is going to be able to deal damage back at home, sniping one of the houses, getting some of the villages. Crimson already back to 7 triremes to 12 from Game Video, so huge water macro here from Game Video at the moment, but Crimson doing what damage he can inside the base. If he can kill 15 or 20 villages here, he can really put Game Video on the back foot. But Game Video, in the meanwhile, is going to try and maintain this water advantage and just gut Crimson's ability to fish. So right now, villager counts, it's 31 to 46. Crimson's up by 15 villages. He's got a fair few here. He's going for another run by. There's the barracks up, but there's no spears here yet. The second town centre is only just going up for Game Video. Game Video, in the meanwhile, on the water. He's killed just about all the triremes. He can pretty much stack up on these docks and deny completely. But Game Video having to defend back in his base, and he's only got a single Asabara. He's got no spearmen, and yeah, he's really only just forcing Crimson out now with the double town center presence. And Crimson up to 48 villages to Game Video's 29. So, and Crimson is actually camping the dock to try and pick at ships that come by, like the fishing boats. So that's really smart there from Crimson, who's also moved outside of the town center range to try and trip down some of these houses without engaging too many spears. There's 2 coming in, but that's a fight he can take, so he's going to pick them off before they reach a critical mass. Picking off another once again. Asabara in the mix there for Game Video, but this is not the sort of unit count he wants to be defending with at this stage in the game. He's definitely won the water there, but it's been at a big cost. Crimson's only just going to lose his last ship, warship now, and there's barracks coming up here off at the side of the map to force any units out of them to not pave over the water, and the camels are being rallied over that side of the map as well. So Crimson's working his way around the lake. He's making sure he can get as much value out of the map as he can. He's lost water to Game Video both of these games, but he's put himself in a much better position this game to be able to turn things around here. I think he's got a huge number of villager kills. He's 56 to 36 villages here. He's 20 villages up. Big number of camels coming in now, cleaning up all these houses once again. So Game Video gonna have to once again pull villages out of here, replenish all these buildings that have gone down. 37 to 58 is villager count now, so 21 is the differential here. Crimson doesn't have water, and he's really making use of these camels to maintain his economic lead in this map right now. Game Video's spread his ships all around though, so he's picking off units that Crimson is accidentally rallying where he shouldn't, so he's punishing him for that. And this watch post, I think, is going to get taken down because there's a good number of spearmen now, so Crimson can't just get by with just camels, but he is up. He's only up by 16 population. He hasn't been producing villagers behind this, which has been a bit to his detriment. He's been getting barracks and so, and he's taken age 3, so I think he's really sort of reshuffled his economy to try and get Axe Champion out and maybe try and overwhelm the Persian player here. Game Video in the meanwhile continuing to expand his presence on the water, which is good because he's going to need to. He's well down on the villager count, but he's catching up in terms of score now. It's 47 to 58, so he's closed the gap from 21 to 11 in the past couple of minutes. Crimson hasn't really been producing villagers that heavily lately. Only just now adding some more back on. And it's sort of undone the damage that he's dealt so far. He's dealt a wicked amount of damage there. I think he got about 10 to 12 villager kills, on top of the fact that he sort of put Game Video in a state where he wasn't producing a lot himself, and right now a lot of that's been undone because he hasn't been producing them consistently himself now. He does still have good presence at the big wedge around the map here, and he's finishing off the rest of these buildings, getting the chariots, got a market line set up already as well, so Game Video economically isn't quite at the state Crimson is yet, even though he's got the water. It's down by 13 vills now. 2 town centers for the Egyptian and 2 for the Persian. Big force of spearmen though, so Game Video has spotted this market and he's going to come and clean that up, while Crimson has nothing really over this side of the map to deal with it. Really nice movement from him. Going to force Crimson to have to throw one down over this side of the map, I think. Crimson in the meanwhile pushing out because he's now got a bit of a mixed force that can deal with the axemen now. He's got some chariots, got some axemen, and he's still got the camels there to tear off and deal with any Asabara. Try and kill any villagers he can. Still a lot of units back here though he could really add to this force, I think. Game Video bringing everything back now. And Crimson's picked a wonderful time to go in because he's denying both of these stables from going up. He can probably finish them off too, but for now he's just leaving them because it means that Game Video doesn't get the wood out of them being destroyed as well. And he's going to snipe the houses. This Asabara is going to tank a bit of damage and ultimately go down. No Camel Rider champ, no Axeman champ, and not a huge number of upgrades here for Crimson yet. Game Video getting Shield Rim behind this, and I think he's going to be able to defend against this push. So Crimson banking a lot of food and a lot of gold right now. Needs to keep his production up. Has a lot of idle villagers. Game Video with a nice defense there. But he still can finish off the stables and get... Yeah, he's going to throw all that up and hopefully get on this hunt there, because he hasn't got hunting dogs yet. Crimson's had it all game, and it's been gathering quite heavily around the map. Doing a great job. Pity this hunt is so split. The market coming down now, and it's going to be relatively safe because there's all this production and the town centre there to guard it, and it's going to run all that way up this side of the map, well out of the water, and the camel gets a victory over the galley. Right now, population lead in Crimson's favour, and it's 83, 75 villages, so he's still with a small eco lead. Game Video with a really compact base down here in the corner of the map. And he's still got a lot of production, a lot of population tied up with these galleys, not forget. So we're getting to the stage of the game, and I think he might have just produced another galley. He's producing more galleys. We're getting to the stage of the game where Game Video, if he has too much banked up in his galleys, all Crimson needs to do is ignore producing out of this stables or have the units rally here, which he's doing. And Crimson could just ignore it, win a fight here based off the population disparity, and Game Video has wasted... What's that? How many of these has he got? 30 population? He's got 30 population tied up on the water right now, which he could have in his army with the mortals, more bowmen, more Asabara, more Spara, more spearmen. And Crimson has a huge camel count right now, creeping up with some siege workshops, bringing the rest of the army forward. He still hasn't got Axeman champion though, and neither does he have camel champ, so that's going to hurt him a little bit. Mounted archers joining the fray here from Game Video, so he's going to need those upgrades, Crimson. Certainly has a goal for them. He's getting Camel Rider champ on the way. Doesn't have Axe Champion Q yet though. So that's going to hurt him a bit, but he's getting Priestess set, so that's going to really cause confusion amongst Game Video's backline if he manages to target them well. Game Video walling up the other side of the map so he can take a safe market and fortress, which is a good idea considering how compact his base is and how Crimson really has the map control despite not having the water. The Game Video losing a big fight here, and for the reasons I mentioned, he just doesn't have the units to be able to fight Crimson right now. So Crimson, with the lack of upgrades, oh no, Camel Champ's kicked in. He doesn't have Axe Champ just yet though. The Game Video just doesn't have enough units to hold off here. Crimson still with a bit of a lead in terms of the population at the moment, and definitely with the 30 pop disparity because of the water, this is looking really bad for Game Video right now, although he does have a reasonable amount in the bank. The Crimson needs to gather a lot of wood behind this. Crimson with a nice run by onto the gold and the stone over here, and he's really denying all this gathering here. 24 villagers just up and away, not gathering right now. 92 to 91 villagers to Game Video's way right now, but with a lot of them not gathering right now, it's hurting him. And the siege tower comes out. Crimson reshuffling his army. Needs to keep his production up, but he's got a lot of units coming out now. Fortress coming up for Game Video, so it's going to be hard for Crimson to work this angle, but he is adding in the siege. Should make it a little bit easier. Game Video trying to wall off the rest of the map. And these ships still posing a bit of a threat for Crimson right now. They're at least making it harder for Crimson to bring anything in, but he's got a lot of idle villagers too, so if he can work on that, he can really pull ahead in the eco, I think. He's taking a bit of a fight. He can't at the moment. He's going to throw away one of the siege towers. Crimson does manage to save that chariot in the end. Game Video bringing some Asabara through Crimson's base. Some nice raiding from our Persian player. Get a couple of kills there. Crimson in the meanwhile continuing to mass up and produce structures over here. Bit of a big proxy base, getting some more stables up here too. And a fortress as well, just for good measure. And he needs something to clean this up because he is queuing some units here in these stables at the rear of his base. I think he's going to have the space to clear up these Asabara who are not champion either quite easily. The mounted archers push forward. There is a mix of chariots and camels here. So I think Game Video is going to be repelled here. He does pick off a lot of the infantry though. And these Asabara are still working their way through Crimson's base. So he's down to 87 villagers to Game Video's 107. So Game Video has only about 50 pop space for his land army right now, guys. That's not a lot. He's got 100. He's got 107 villagers. Let's say 105, and he's got 30 on the water tied up with his galleys. He's really only got about 45 pop worth of army space at the moment, and he's gonna have to make things work. Getting an age 4 soon. I think he's got the resources to do it, but if Crimson pushes in at the right time here, it can be very, very messy for Game Video because he just doesn't have much of an army at all. This time there's 2 siege towers, there's an army with them taking a bit of a lead before they go in. And there's more units back here for Crimson. He needs to bring them all down at once though. This is really going to punish Crimson. He's got much more space for army, but he's just not bringing it all in at once, which is hurting him because he's losing out on quite a lot of population here as well. He's got probably about 25 or 30 pop there, sitting at the base, not doing anything, which is really hurting him. He's just bringing it all down now. And he is going to probably get this. Oh no, I don't know. I don't think he will actually. Game Video going to be able to defend it. He's repairing it with plenty of villagers. He's still got the fortress backing it up. And some Asabara in now to clean up these chariots. So Game Video does hold on once again. This chariot. Oh, these galleys must be getting quite a few kills here. Crimson probably needs to ignore producing out of these stables for now and be very careful about bringing the units around. elephant here in the mix too. Although it may get sniped here considering... Oh no, here we go. The camels follow up. But it might be a little bit late. The elephant does survive it ultimately. Really nice defense here from Game Video. He's got 3 markets as well, so it's going to be hard to snipe all that. Crimson's close gathering here, so that's not good for him at all. Does that go a flash of light blue when I do that? Look at that, look at that, it goes light blue quickly. Look, look, look. It flashes for light blue. Look, it's a slightly different hue. That looks cool. Doesn't seem to do it with the other civs. The other colours. See? Look, it's not happening. And you do it here. And it does go a slightly different colour. It becomes saturated because of the blue from the drag box. And it doesn't happen with the other colours. That's cool. We figured something out today, guys. Are you as happy as I am? I'm pretty happy. Alright, so there's a lot of Asabara heading around. Same time. Big fight going on down here. A few more siege towers heading in. Another fortress finishing up. The Asabara are going to hit over here, but there's not really anything there, so Game Video's not going to get a lot out of that. And the first fortress goes down, so it looks like Crimson has really overwhelmed Game Video, and like I said, he's pushing in to a much smaller army, and Game Video has really only just started losing a lot of eco. Now he's been deleting it off behind all this, but it's been a bit too little too late, and Crimson's really pushing into him quite heavily right now. Game Video is going to run out of gold before Crimson does at this stage, so he needs to be careful here. He does have a number of units to defend right now, but he is down by 10 per... Oh, he's down by quite a fair bit of pop now. The Asabara do come back to defend. And they are going to be able to clean up these siege towers and these chariots, but Crimson's going to be able to keep pushing out with... He's now got a Palanton on, he's now got war elephants coming back out again. Crimson perhaps is overextended with this Palanton on, I think. Just going to get a nice couple of hits off. Doesn't get the second one off on the Siege Workshop for Game Video, so Game Video is going to be able to respond with his own rams here. He's doing a wonderful job of defending here. Every time it looks like he's losing, he seems to really equalize things and put Crimson on the back foot. Spearman coming out now for Game Video. An interesting decision. Pair of stables there for Crimson. He's got a lot of chariots on the way out of these stables. He's massed up. No desert conditioning just yet, so he hasn't got the peak form for his cavalry yet. Purebred coming out for Game Video because he wants to start working his way towards endgame cavalry upgrades. He's losing some production now. Crimson, I don't know if he's going to be able to stick around much longer here. These forces are all going down. The camels and the chariots are a bit to the back of this fight. They're only just joining a little bit late now. Crimson's still got a bit of a population lead. And over the other side of the map, he's got a big bunch of camels and chariots. He's just sort of trying to find an opening, but the sooner he cuts into Game Video's base, the better, because the quicker he can start dealing some damage. He's not going to find a gap here at all. He's going to head all the way around to try and fit through this little hole if he's tried to rally in, but he's bringing everything across I think he's just going to try and push. Now that he's maxed out, he's still got the advantage of being up in terms of population, so if he pushes now, he can really work an angle over Game Video. But Game Video in the meanwhile, continuing to macro up to defend behind this. He's adding so many Asabara champion, he's getting Spear champion upgrade, and the galleys are really buying him a bit of time now. Although they are all going to go down, and he is going to be able to max out with some real land units now and take some good fights on the land, I think. There's still 6 galleys alive though, so that's still 18 population that the Persian has locked up on the water that can't gather, but the Egyptian doesn't here. So Crimson with a slightly bigger army still, and still no 4th town center. Forget. Oh no, he does have 4 town centers. There we go, it's just finished. The Game Video is still down by 20 pop. He hasn't got the units out just yet. Crimson's going to start chipping away at the houses too, and start chipping away at the production, so Game Video is going to attempt to take the fight now. Crimson with some wonderful micro, pulling back the camels there and then letting them rip on all the Asabara. But there's a lot of mounted archers here for Game Video. Maybe not enough to defend though. He's down a little bit in terms of population, and he needs to start replacing these houses, but I think he is adding them behind this, which is good because he's going to need to keep doing so. Crimson has a lot of units on his doorstep and is just about maxed out behind this. He's getting Ptolemy's Might, which is really good because it means he can get out those elephants a little bit faster as well. They're spending less time in production as deadweight population. Game Video adding in horseshoes behind this, so he's going to have more stats on his mounted archers, on his Asabara, get that little bit more damage and health out of the units, be a little bit quicker. And Crimson trying to creep forward with the fortress, and this might be just what he needs. Game Video falling further and further behind, doesn't really have a lot in the bank at the moment. Worker counts are 92 to 83, so Crimson actually with a slightly smaller potential army here, but he's managed to work the angle there. He's got the Palantone on, ducked in behind the fortress, so wonderful position on that, it can't get surrounded. And Game Video floating all the way up to 100 workers and ducking down to 70, and then not being able to field the units to actually defend it. It's really punished him. Crimson's maintained a big bank behind this the whole time and just maintained so much production. A lot of stables here. A lot of barracks and stables here, so he's just sent around units little by little all the way around. With, yeah, basically 2 or 3 little bases around the map. GG, well played. It's going to go to a very interesting game number 3 here, guys. I'm eager for this. Holy. Alright guys, are you ready to rumble? We've got a Persia versus Persia game incoming. Oh, aren't we just blessed today? So we've got a Bandit Canyon mirror matchup to close out this series today. Are you guys keen? Because I'm keen as a bean. Now, spawning over here, lower side of the map, green trunks, crimson Cantab, Persian player number 1, Persian player number 2. We got game video 113, yellow trunks today, going for the double store house opening here on both players. So I think we're probably going to see a Sabara base play here from both players, if I'd hazard a guess. Crimson with a bit late on the pickers. Perhaps he's looking to shift straight onto the land, straight onto the low ground, and make use of hunting dogs and a hunt rather than relying on the berries, because it is slower. Game video instantly getting pickers gloves. Very good decision making from him, but at the same time there is space for Crimson to pull ahead with the hunting dogs transition. So yeah guys, with taking your early game eco upgrades, if you know what you're going to do, just take the tech. Crimson actually deciding against it now, getting pickers gloves rather than sort of transitioning onto the low ground. So I think it's going to be a bit to his detriment. He's found that hunt down there, but he's opted not to take it, even though both players are probably not going to field any aggression until they get to the age 2, get the stables, they get their Asabara out. They're not going to bother with Spara rushing each other on this map, I don't think. They probably would if it was any other matchup, but considering it's a mirror, I don't think they're going to. Do I need to fix the numbers up? Try to fix the numbers up a little bit. Sorry. Sean, stop with the crappy streams. Alright, so Stone coming out here. Game video. Meanwhile, Crimson going to distance gather his because he's going to be able to, so lucky for him. Oh no, he's going to throw in a second one there. Get ultra coverage for these villagers just on the side. I'm just sort of trying to move my mic away from my face as far as possible. Is this why people get desk mics? I don't want to be a desk mic person, man. It's just not cool. Alright, so Crimson is going to transition onto the low ground now. He's going to have to look at taking hunting dogs, I think, in order to make best use of that. H2 already coming out here for game video. And it's already coming out here for Crimson as well, but at the same time it's a little bit slower for him. So I don't know who's going to be able to squeeze out that little bit quicker. Asabara, we'll have to wait and see, because they're both going to want to try and squeeze out the town centre quicker, I think, considering they're both not going for anything barracks oriented. So it'll probably be town centre stables from both players. They've both got the stone, just getting the wood. Game videos age up slightly faster and going for a high ground town centre. Crimson, oh, getting out handsaw now. And going for a high ground town centre himself. So both of them, yeah, playing very safely. Crimson is making use of that low ground though already. And game video, no handsaw just yet. Crimson, no hunting dogs just yet, even though he'd be able to make use of it, but I think he's going to go fairly minimal on the low ground, just in case game video gets the Asabara out quicker. Just in case it gets scouted and gets beelined for, because you can lose games from that. If you're not prepared, you lose too much. A range coming out first from Crimson, actually. Interesting decision. Game video can't yet afford a production facility. He's gone for a house first instead. skirting around the back of Crimson's base, just checking out what he's got. He's seen the range now, and he's probably going to want to get a stables himself, I'd say. Both players finishing the HQ Town Center. Stables coming up for Crimson now as well, so he's a little bit quicker on the production there. But at the same time, Game Video opting for the stable, so it's nullifying the range opening at least. But all Crimson has to do is just park them up here, keep them well away from any early Asabara push from Game Video, and then he can field them as soon as Game Video opts to push out with spears. If he does so, or if Crimson wants to push into Game Video. So there's the stables coming out again from Game Video. He wants to just try and overwhelm Crimson, and Crimson's going to have to go with the barracks to try and deal with this. He can't just keep trying to trade stables for stables after already committing to the range, because the moment Game Video pulls ahead on the Asabara account, he just basically wins the trade for free, because the bowmen, again, they're not worthwhile in that trade. You sort of need to get the spearmen out, and then that's when the bowmen actually become a viable choice against the spearmen. So Game Video for the time being can just keep adding stables until Crimson adds a barracks in. But here we go, it's coming down. So Crimson's gone for the 1-1-1, but sort of done it in reverse to how you probably would want to do it in this matchup. Because you'd probably want to do it with either the barracks or the stables first. In saying that, he didn't get pushed in too early, so as long as he pushes out first, he can get a lot of value out of that. There's already a couple of Asabara out in the field though, so if Game Video sees this, he's going to be able to clean up this watch post relatively quickly, although it perhaps has given Crimson the intel he needs. A lot of food gathering there for Game Video, and Crimson's probably going to want a beeline for there. 30 villages, 31. Game Video with a slight lead in production there. But he hasn't got any in production at the moment now, and he's really low on food. He is pushing out with a good number of these Asabara. Well, Crimson's just playing quite defensively. Hasn't pushed out at all because, again, with the opening with the bowman first, he doesn't have the control of the low ground. He's going to have the small Asabara count, and he's going to get spotted heading out here with the slightly smaller numbers, so Game Video is going to run for now, but as soon as he gets a little bit closer, he's going to be able to turn this fight because he does have the unit count advantage here. Does have 2 cleaning up this watch post, so he wants to clean up that first. And he's going to be able to turn. He's got 7 to 4 for Crimson. Crimson does have a big bow count, but if this gets caught out and surrounded, Game Video really can turn this fight easily. So there's 9 to 4 and 7 bowmen. So it's a really one-sided phase until the spearmen get in the low ground. And Temper's coming out now for Game Video. So is Horsemanship, so the Horsemanship's going to be a good way to avoid the Spearmen once they get added to the fight, because right now this is a very tough trade for Crimson. All these bowmen basically going to get picked off for free, and they do. All 7 of the bowmen, 6 of the 7 bowmen going down basically for free, and the Asabara losing in a lopsided count with this one Spearman coming in to back them up, but it's not going to be enough. Crimson's initial fight here, a little bit rough. The range first in the mirror, perhaps not the way to go. And Game Video with the massive Asabara headed in here, continuing to push even against the Spearmen because they're not at a critical mass. The Asabara can just focus them down first, focus down the Asabara next, and then just 2-tap the Bowman. So Game Video continuing to push with this little wall. A bunch of cost-effective trades into the complete spectrum from Crimson right now. Backing out now just as he's picked off as much as he needed. So a really healthy trade there for Game Video. Crimson, even in workers at 39 apiece, but Game Video well up in terms of population. These Asabara perhaps just need a little bit of healing from an aid tent. Crimson going to try and wall that all off, but unsuccessful. And now with that stone committed, he's got plenty in the bank though, and he can keep adding upgrades. He's getting aid 10 himself. Game Video going to try and hit the low ground on the other side this time, I think. Crimson going to try and wall it up now, but again, just at the inopportune time, he's actually going to get seen here, and the village is going to get picked off. Game Video just must have moved just down onto that point, but he's now seen everything else on the low ground, and Crimson, once again, the straights are a bit dire. It's 46 to 43 on the village account, and now it's going to really start to open up Game Video's way. Crimson trying to wall up more of the low ground, but at a bit of an Asabaro disadvantage. The Spearman coming in now. Game Video is just going to try and ignore this army. While these are moving all together, Crimson can't really chase. Game Video going to notice this wall. Going to be able to clean it up for now, if he chooses to do so. He's just having a bit of a look here. Tried to poke him with a couple of Asabara, unsuccessful. But just going to mass everything up. Crimson with these half-finished walls all around his base. Plenty of stone in the bank to get whatever upgrades and get another TC if he needs, but he's really being forced into playing around the farms. Game Video doing it as well. He's sort of playing really safe on the low ground himself. He's got a couple of kills, but he's not overextending himself. He's 51 to 37 villages at the moment. He's probably going to wait till he works a bit of an upgrade, a bit of an advantage in there, and he's going to be able to get Asabaro champion much faster than Crimson right now. Crimson's still trying to finish off the walls here. Game Video going to see all this. Well, we're going to see all this being continued. Perhaps not paying attention because he's trying to get as much out of the low ground as he can. Because he's shifted onto the hunt on this side. He doesn't have hunting dogs yet though. But there's 32 pop difference. Game Video with a huge mass of Asabara. And Aspara and a couple of Spearmen here to defend won't be enough. There's more in tow though. A lot of spearmen here to defend this, so this is a good spear count, but at the same time, mounted archers or bowmen here from Game Video can really upset this as well. He's got the age up advantage. Crimson is really backed onto the high ground and dependent on getting these walls up. Taking the upgrade for the walls though. Game Video is probably just gonna try and buy a bit of time before Asabara champion kicks in. Oh no, he's going to actually commit to a raid here, so Asabara champion should kick in as soon as Crimson really is able to respond to this, but Game Video instead decides to back out. Perhaps a little bit too early, because the upgrade is still finishing off. Crimson getting age 3 though. So Game Video is going to need to add immortals, going to need to add mounted archers or bowmen or something. Act as a bit of a backline for these Asabara champion, but that's a really impressive count of them. They can really rip through walls and move around the map with ease. Do a lot of damage. Bunch of spears here to defend this, but it's not going to be enough. Crimson's going to have to pull more, but Game Video is not even going to stick around. He's going to probably try and punch another segment here and then back off. He's going to continue to run around, see what he can get. He's denying this hunt for now. Crimson once again still really confined to the high ground. Sending units to come and deal with this, but Game Video not wanting to relent. Not losing any Asabara unnecessarily. Although there's two, I take that back, there's two heading in now. going to head straight through. They are going to get out. Game Video continuing to make a break for it. Crimson getting more upgrades in the meantime, so his Spear Champ has kicked in too. So that's going to be really beneficial for him, and he is getting some mounted archers, so he's going to be able to deal some damage on the trot to these Asabara. But they're running all the way through to the other side. And Crimson is really stuck all the way over here, so Game Video is just making him dizzy, run back and forth to defend each side of his base, and there's the sort of composition here that really can't clean this up alone. So Game Video, I think, is going to try and take a fight, or just keep denying low ground resources if he can. He's going to make an engage though, because he's just seen how low the spearman count here is, so he's going to mop up these range units and back off, I think. Yeah, so he gets a couple of good range kills there, backs out, maintains his population lead. He's up by about 38 pop here. Crimson 52 villagers to Game Video's 84. There is Immortals now being produced. Game Video's going to keep running. Lose an Asabara there, or two. But he's getting a bunch of mounted archers and a bunch of Immortals, so just what he needs. A ram in tow as well, just to punch a hole through the wall if he needs to. Crimson's finishing it up around the rest of the map. There's still this little hole here. There's still this gap up here too, so Game Video nearly maxed out. Crimson still needs another 40 pop to get there. So Game Video just waiting for the last couple of units to finish up here. Crimson. So just working in a couple of upgrades as well and adding some more production. Getting some more stables. And trying to make an attempt at the raids himself now because Game Video has stopped. So the pressure's off. Game Video needs to make a move for it. Otherwise Crimson's going to start, yeah, really working his way back into this game, and I hope he does though. He's doing a wonderful job. I'm trying to defend here, but Game Video has really worked an advantage really wonderfully with these Asabara champ. It's a big counter them, but now they've backed in. They're backed into amongst the trees where they really can't reach the mounted archers that well. So Game Video in a bit of a rough position with this fight, and most of the Asabara are going down to the spearmen, so a bit of a microed fight there for him. Bit of an unfortunate position to be taking, but I think he ultimately will still be able to win the fight because he's just got that much of a lead over his opponent, so he does manage to correct his unit distribution there and really win that fight. The Rams even in tow to tank any damage, and they didn't, so they haven't really been of any value to him yet, but he's won that fight pretty decisively, and Crimson doesn't have a lot of gold in the bank. He's got a lot of everything else, but can't manage to keep producing the units without it. Game Video still up by about 50 pop here. He's splitting off some Asabara to deal a bit of raiding damage in the meantime, and he's bringing everything. The Rams going to be able to make light work of these half-finished buildings and all this production. Asabara getting some good kills here. Some idle units being brought back into the fight here. Crimson dipping ever lower on score. He's running out of wood now. And really low on the gold still. Needs to bring in... Game Video needs to bring in some more units though, because Crimson's going to be able to defend unless he brings everything. But it looks as though Crimson is our victor, I think, because he's really bringing the smack down now. He's destroying a lot of buildings, and Crimson doesn't have a lot left. He's going to try and repair the town centre desperately, but he just can't max out behind this. He's 100 pop down over Game Video. He's about to lose his main town centre. The GG is called, and guys, we have a victor today. Game Video wins our third game. GG, well played, fellas. That was a wonderful wonderful 3 games to sit through and cast. So thanks for that. And yeah, cheers for watching, guys. I'll update the scores here, and that'll be that. Cheers for watching once again. We'll see you tomorrow.